Welcome back to another Food Can Also Be Medicine recipe. I'm Dr. Joanette, longevity specialist, ER doctor, and also a Blue Zone native. Growing up, my mom used to make an amazing cranberry Jell-O ring, except for she didn't use Jell-O. She used all natural ingredients. So today I'm taking her recipe, improving it, and bringing you a sugar-free, preservative-free, chemical-free, all natural holiday cranberry gelatin ring. So let's get cooking, but make sure you watch all the way to the end to learn why this recipe is also medicine. To get started, we are going to make a cranberry sauce. You could use this recipe and just use that as a cranberry sauce. If you don't want to make your own cranberry sauce, you could purchase commercial cranberry sauce. However, it's going to be loaded with sugar as well as artificial colorings and preservatives. So I recommend you make your own. It's super simple, and I'm sure once you see how easy it is, you're going to want to just make your own cranberry sauce, sugar-free from now on. To get started, we're using 12 ounces of washed, sorted, and cleaned organic whole fresh cranberries. And to that, we are adding a cup of sweetener. In this case, I'm using a combination of monk fruit and allulose sweetener. And to that, we're adding a half a cup of water. I'm going to stir it all up and put it on the stove. We're going to heat it on medium until the cranberries are soft, and we'll begin to hear them pop in just a little bit. So I'm going to put it on the stove back here and we'll get it cooking. The next thing we want to do is we want to bloom our gelatin. What that means is that we're just going to soften it with some of the juice, some of the cranberry juice. This is actually raspberry juice. We have a lot of raspberries, so we can a lot of raspberries. We remove the seeds and we can them. We make raspberry juice, raspberry puree that we can use in different things. However, most people don't have access to that. So just purchase some unsweetened, either raspberry or cranberry raspberry combination juice, but just make sure it's unsweetened because we're going to be adding a non-sugar sweetener to it. And to bloom the gelatin, we want to put it in a fairly shallow dish, and we are going to just sprinkle 3 packets of grass-fed gelatin on it. It's gelatin that came from cows that were eating grass. There's 2 packets, and here's the 3rd. And we'll just set that aside for about 20 minutes to give it plenty of time to absorb the juice in the container. So we'll set that over here. I hear our berries starting to pop here. We're going to pour 2 cups of our raspberry, or if you had raspberry cranberry, into our kettle here and get it heating up. So we're going to start by heating up, making our gelatin base by heating up the cranberry juice, like our case, cranberry juice, raspberry juice, your juice. You're going to have 2.5 cups of it, and to that, you're going to add another cup of your non-sugar sweetener, whatever your favorite is. I like to try to use the plant-based ones, which is the stevia, the monk fruit, and the allulose. Of those, the allulose is the most heat stable. Stevia and monk fruit aren't quite as heat stable, so they actually work better in cold things or things that aren't going to be heated real hot. So what makes cranberries a medicine? Cranberries are actually a superfood. They're high in antioxidants. In other words, they have things in them like anthocyanins and polyphenols. Antioxidants are substances that are important for brain health as well as heart health. In addition to that, they have vitamins. Vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, and vitamin D. They have minerals, manganese, and they also have a lot of fiber. Good for your gut, good for your digestion, good for that microbiome. So all of these things make this recipe with cranberries, lots of cranberries, and also the raspberries also have many of the same things that cranberries have. Make this a great food is medicine recipe, especially with the holidays coming up. All the colds and the flus going around, they're a great booster for your immune system. So make this and enjoy it. And the best thing of it is it's not going to spike your blood sugar. It's going to help you keep a nice steady blood sugar sugar throughout the day because it doesn't have any artificial sweeteners in it. There's no sugar in it. It only has natural sugar in it. At the end of the video, we're going to take a look at my continuous glucose monitor and see what this recipe actually does when I eat a portion of the delicious cranberry raspberry jello. We're just getting it heated up here. What you want to do is you want to heat it to steaming and just melt all of that sweetener. That's looking pretty good. Have you ever made a Jell-O salad that actually doesn't have Jell-O but has natural gelatin in it? And also, how about one without sweeteners? I'd love to hear in the comment below if you've ever made a Jell-O salad without actually using any gelatin, any Jell-O, but using natural gelatin instead. Once that's steaming, let's go ahead and add in our bloomed gelatin. We want to just melt that in real good. Everything you see here, if you scroll down the links below, the sweetener, the induction burner, and also the Jell-O mold that we're going to be using here in a little bit, you can get them all. There's links out to all of them below. I do get a small commission from them, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. It also continues to help me bring you these great recipes where food can also be medicine. And let's turn that back up just a little bit. I want to get it all all nicely melted before we add all of our add-ins. Now that it's steaming, let's add in our add-ins. I've got our cranberries are all cooked nice. They've already begun to thicken. They will thicken naturally. They have a lot of natural pectin in them. So we're going to add them into our kettle here. And we can turn that off now. And we're going to add some orange zest, about a teaspoon of orange zest. When you zest orange, you want to just get the color. You don't want to get down into the white part of the orange because that's bitter. So just take that top layer off. Have you ever noticed if you don't use an orange right away after you've zested it, it gets really hard. You can't even peel it. It has how hard it gets. You take that nice, soft, zesty layer off and it firms right up, almost like a hard rock. Inside, though, it still stays juicy. And we're going to add 20 ounces of crushed pineapple. Don't add fresh pineapple. The fresh pineapple will keep your Jell-O mold from setting up. It has substances in it that are natural digesting type agents, and it keeps the Jell-O from setting up. That is a half of a cup, quarter of a cup, probably about a third of a cup of pomegranate seeds, and a half of a cup of toasted, coarsely chopped pecans. And it is now ready to go into our Jell-O mold. When I was a kid growing up, my mom had one of these. It was green. It was made by Tupperware. And I went looking for one of the original ones, but couldn't find one. But this is almost exact. It's red, but it looks exactly like the green one that we had as a kid growing up. I'm going to dump this all into the Jell-O mold, and it makes a little more than what will fit in the Jell-O mold, which is fine with me because I like to have a little extra on the side that I can just eat. Don't want to overfill it though. And the lid goes on it, and it goes into the refrigerator for at least 24 hours. After 24 hours, you could take it out of the refrigerator, unmold it, and I like to garnish it with some sugared cranberries, except for these aren't sugared cranberries. These are sweetened cranberries. I used allulose, a combination of allulose and monk fruit. I used the powdered monk fruit and the granular allulose on these cranberries. Delicious. I also like to take some rosemary, fresh rosemary, and when you powder them or when you sugar them, you make them look like little snow-covered branches from nature. They're great for something like this or even a roast or something like that around the holidays if you want to use it to decorate. Let's give it a try. I'd love to hear in the comments below what your favorite non-sugar sweetener is. If you go to my website, I have a blog there where I look at all the different non-sugar sweeteners and I compare them and tell you which ones are best for what type of recipe that you have. So go there at growwithdrjoanette.com and check it out. This looks amazing. That is really good. Nice and sweet, but not too sweet. The cranberries, the raspberries, all the natural flavors come through, and it is the perfect holiday Jell-O ring. How did it affect my continuous glucose monitor? I wear a continuous glucose monitor, and after I ate about this size of a piece, I checked my glucose. Before I ate the Jell-O salad, my glucose was 93. It bumped it up a little bit. It went up to about 106, and then it came right back down about an hour later, back down to 96. Not much change in my sugar, even though it does have a fair amount of natural sugars in it. I think because it also has so much fiber that helped blunt the sugar response. Thank you so much for joining me today, for watching, and I would love to hear in the comments if you give this a try. Also, by the way, if you want to know how to sugar cranberries, go to my website, growwithdrjoanette.com, and you'll not only find this recipe, but lots of other recipes, and we'll see you next time in the next video.